what's up? Welcome back to Ground Zero Salem. You're living at Ground Zero Salem. My name is Pat. I'll be your host this evening. I don't know if I like that angle. I'm trying out some new angles, guys. I recently just bought a bar for the little cave down here. So I'm kind of fucking around with, obviously, with some different angles. It's very comfortable for me. I'm enjoying this. Let me know what you think. I've got a skull full of mixed nuts here. Salty goodness. So, wanted to do a video about, get away from the collection for a minute, just talk about stuff I've been listening to. A lot of these are recent pickups. You know, it's a bit of a collection update, I guess. There's a lot of items in here, though, that are, a few of them anyway, that are ones that I pulled out of the stacks, and I was like, oh man, I need to revisit this. I bought it in a moment of unbridled passion on eBay. Fell in love with it, listened to it twice, and filed it like any collector scum maniac does. So before I get too far into it, we're listening to a little band called Pestilence. I had to do something about that glare from this angle. I got a light over here. I don't know. We'll see. We'll work it out. We'll work out the kinks, guys. This is Malleus, Maleficarum. I can't believe I pronounced that without fucking stuttering. This is an old RC pressing on cassette. I didn't realize how good this was until me and my neighbor John, who you've met, went to go see Creator, Midnight, Obituary, and Horrendous. And it's about with traffic from Salem into Boston, back and forth, you're talking hour and a half, 2 hours. And we just left this on repeat the whole time. It's brilliant, brutal thrash metal. Not a sound-alike or anything, but if you're a big fan of Beneath the Remains by Sepultura, this would be up your alley. Before Martin Van Buren's vocals got really rougher and more guttural. Just ferocious shit. Now, I have this set on auto reverse. It already flipped over once. When it flips over again, if this goes long, which, face it, it will, it's going to spin onto Pestifere, Hope, Misery, Death, on the Bindrune subsidiary Iwa's recordings. This is really great. I've only listened to it like twice, and it reminded me a lot of Dissection. I know there's a lot of similarities there. That kind of thrashy, scalpel precision kind of black metal that Dissection's known for. Some other influences in there as well, but great stuff. Cool label, that little sub-label of Bindrune. I'll leave a little link down here if you wanna check it out. So I got a whole pile of shit. Most of this is stuff that I've been listening to in my car for a couple of weeks now. A bunch of tapes, eBay stuff, some old stuff, some stuff I bought a couple months ago, a few things that were recommended to me by friends who you probably know and love. Start off with the most recent thing I was spinning today. A band called Creepmime. Speaking of Pestilence, this was produced by Patrick Mameli, that's his name, Pestilence. It is excellent. It's doomy death metal. We're not talking like a lot of string sections here, you know, like My Dying Bride and that sort of thing. Lots of great intense melodies though. Very crystalline production, you know, there's not a lot of murkiness to it. Everything's very at the forefront. Vocals are very deep and guttural. Guy from this band, whose name escapes me. One of these guys was in a very recent lineup of Sinister, like in 2010. Awesome Great stuff. Very, you know, mournful, melodic, crushing, a lot of slow, dirgy passages. Excellent death metal. What you'd come to expect from the Netherlands, you know. Creepmime, this came out on Pavement Music, I think in 1993. Same label as fucking Crowbar Kid, Solitude Aeternus, bunch of other shit. Classic label. I think that it was Grindcore Records before that, and they changed the name. A buddy of mine that I just met on Facebook, guy that liked the channel, added me. Wanted one of the mixtapes, which reminds me, I've been sleeping on those mixtapes. I got a couple of YouTubers I want to send them to, but I'll hit you up on Instagram or whatever. Anyway, he wanted one of the mixtapes, and I sent him an extra, and he sent me a couple of tapes back. 2 head split releases that I did not already have. This is the second Thy Infernal record, Warlords of Hell. And I also got this TerrorStriker, Hordes of Armageddon. Now, I was really excited about getting this because I really like the first Thy Infernal, which I have right here. Satan's Wrath. I talked about that on the head split update. It's great American black metal, USBM, if you will. The overall sense I'm getting from it is kind of the polar opposite of a lot of second wave, you know, archetypical black metal. It doesn't give me a kind of a cold, icy kind of sense of or a vibe from it. It's more of like a volcanic, you know, stereotypical hellfire kind of thing going on. The riffing's perfect. It's Ryan from Engorge, which I've mentioned before, and the vocals are on point, shrieky kind of vocals, but you can understand everything he's saying. Title song Warlords of Hell is great. It has sort of a chorus that keeps repeating and crescendoing. It's really fucking something.
There's no escape from the Reaper's blade. Satan's warriors attack. Freedom steel rip through your flesh and die by the warlords of hell. Come on. Charging, rampaging, freezes, slaughtered by a storm. One by one, 10 by 10, falling to the ground.
It comes on a red tape exactly like the first one. Got the, you know, metal collage there. Yeah, just very hook-laden. One of my favorite things about black metal, as much as because I love Nemesis Divina, there's lots of sword clashing on it. I need more sword clashing just everywhere, just like behind me, like an I'm Gonna Get You sucker, just somebody like clashing swords together. That would really make my day if that could be a thing that's going on. This TerrorStriker is a Russian band, and you know, I'm apprehensive about stuff like this, as I've talked about before. You know, there's Revengeful Hordes of Armageddon, excuse me, I had beans. Cursed Legion and Necromancer, Satanic War Metal Commando with umlauts. And there is, as I was expecting, a bit of a Ross Bay cult or bestial or war metal or whatever the fuck you want to call it kind of thing to this. But it's like, kind of like Blood on the Altar demo by Blasphemy meets, I don't know, everything good Slayer did in the 80s, particularly stuff from Rain and Blood. It's vicious thrash metal with those awesome Blasphemy style, like demonic kind of vocals over everything. And it really makes it. It's incredibly catchy. The slow parts, the busts or breakdowns, if you're a fucking hardcore kid, are violence-inducing and fucking rad as hell. It's a really, really, really great tape. Just did a little cruise of the internets to see what else they'd done. They have a full length out, and I want to cop it. Fucking really, 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 really good. I picked this up on eBay. The seller was selling a bunch of sealed metal cassettes that all end up ended up going for way too much. I kind of got back into cassettes because vinyl was too fucking expensive, and I could find cassettes for reasonable prices of old death metal bands. And now the cassettes sometimes I feel like go for more than any other format, and that's it. It's bullshit. Like, I like them. They're fun. They're compact. They're kind of indestructible, but they are kind of inferior to everything else. Like, why the fuck? Anyway, I don't mean to rant. But the guy was selling this fucking killer live MDC tape, Elvis in the Rheinland. This came out in 1988, when they were kind of at a not so hot period. I'm trying to think what came out by then. Their classic records, Millions of Dead Cops and More Dead Cops, of course. They did Millions of Damn Christians was probably the one they were touring on for this, which is, it's got a couple tracks, but man, that record's not so hot. This fucking is a face ripper though. This is great. Dave Dichter sounds like a man fucking possessed. There's a couple great rants at the crowd. He sounds like he smokes 2 cartons of cigarettes a day in between songs. Fucking lightning fast. If you don't know MDC, if you happen to enjoy early, like the first Agnostic Front record, if you like, I mentioned them a million times, but if you like the first couple of DRI records before they went thrash metal, the just like proto blast beat kind of hardcore kind of stuff, MDC should be up your alley. Obviously not a fan of the Police or the State or any of that kind of shit lyrically, but man, what great songwriters and just intense shit. There's a couple of songs reworked on this, like I Remember, which is originally recorded as like a very intense diatribe against the police state. That's easily one of their best songs. It has like a really crazy fucking lyrical bass and intense chorus. It's redone to be kind of a mid-tempo rockish number, which works for it actually. My Family is a little weird. Half of it's slow and kind of rock and roll and gets fast. It's awesome. The last song is like acoustic, which kind of brings it together nicely. So it's not all one tempo. Really fucking great record if you like hardcore punk.
If you don't want people to bump into you, don't sit in the front of the stage. Get to the fucking back. Because we don't need a bunch of fucking shithead fighters like you getting uptight every time someone bumps into you. I don't have to fucking look at you all night. That's in the school from a chain, the room, locked up with friend. With a job sweat, the country's great, country, church, and state. All of them die, locked outside, the birth of hope, right home. Family fail, Christian nothing is still.
This was worth the $10 easily. Then this, I just bought this. Impulse buy. They had a live track on that compilation I played, the last update or the update before, I don't remember. The Chilean compilation. This band is from Chile. They are definitely fucking doom metal. They're called Precession. They live in Sweden now, which was a little confusing to me. I think I said on that video that they were a Swedish band. They're actually from Chile. They're fucking fantastic. I think the industry term is epic doom. If you like Solitude Aeternus, if you like Candlemass, they're right in there. Different, not really a clone or some sort of genetic combination of the two. They have their own thing going on, but there's definitely a sort of Messiah Marklin, Rob Lowe kind of delivery with the vocals. Almost operatic. Fantastic soaring metal vocals. There's a lot of stuff going on in the music that kind of holds it apart. It's very rooted in that style, but there's a little bit more fancy bass work, particularly on the first song, that kind of drives the song along. That song's called Damnatio Memoriae. The Death Minstrel's kind of this like spooky spoken word sort of thing. The song To Reap Heavens Apart almost gets triumphant and less mournful, especially with the chorus. It gets almost, dare I say, a little on the Manowar side. This came out on High Roller in 2013. I'll show you the disc there. I picked this up on Amazon. I have an Amazon credit card, so when I pay it off, I get points. So a lot of stuff that I otherwise wouldn't spend a lot of money on, I get for cheaper. This was worth it though, even if I paid full price. I think it was like $18 or something like that. And then kind of carry the theme of a couple of things. I picked this up. I think this was waiting for me when I got home from Seattle, so timeline-wise, if you're paying attention to my videos, whatever. Like, I ordered this a month ago, got it a couple weeks ago, yada yada. Recommended to me by Eric. This is Discard, 4 minutes past midnight. As I've mentioned before, like in my videos, I think DV at its genesis, especially with Discharge, is wonderful. I just am not easily impressed by a lot of bands doing that style. I'm starting to warm up to more and more of that kind of stuff. This band was, mentioned to me by Eric, and he was like, yeah, you gotta give this a shot. And I see why, because it's been on my turntable lots and lots and lots of plays since I've gotten it. There we go, that kicked in. Not to cut myself off, this is the Pestifere tape. Anyway, this is fucking incredible. It's funny because it's been a while since I've sat down and listened to some Discharge LPs, and I was thinking to myself, like, is this incredibly similar? Is this a carbon copy, or are they adding something new? And they definitely are. Like, I listened to this and then I threw on Hear Nothing, See Nothing, Say Nothing and the Y record, and this is definitely, I don't know, just even more enraged about the state of the world. Swedish band. This came out, or at least saw a re-release on Unrest Records. It's a gatefold. That's what it looks like. Really intense intro goes into the first song, Resist and Exist. And this is it's very Discharge based. I mean, it's got that, if you know anything about Discharge or D-Beat, it's got that haiku style where it's like maybe a paragraph, like 4 lines repeated. And again, it takes a lot for that type of shit to impress me. And this vocalist means every goddamn word. He's completely enraged about what he's singing about. The solos on this are off the chain. Just shredding metal-style solos over otherwise almost completely pure hardcore punk music. The music itself has a very dense, dark air to it. It's not overproduced at all. It's produced well. There's not like tracking on the guitars or anything like that. It's raw, stripped down, like a lot of people say to describe this kind of music. But it just punches you right in the fucking balls. It's incredibly dark, incredibly just visceral, intense fucking punk rock from Sweden. And they, according to sources, are one of the first bands that started doing the Discharge worship thing. So along those lines, I also have been listening to this. This is Drill It Killer, and the winner is. This originally came out on Osmos. This band had a bunch of releases on Osmos. This was re-released by Crimes Against Humanity Records, who are slowly but surely hanging it up. I think they're just kind of getting rid of their stock. They're liquidating their stock. I believe they're from Wisconsin. They I bought a Cripple Bastard CD from them on eBay, and then I went to their website, and I was like, oh, they're selling all their CDs for like $2. So I spent like $20 and got a bunch of stuff. A lot of it did not particularly hit me in one way or another. There was some good stuff in there. There's Groin Churn and Face Down and Shit and some other stuff, but I'll probably talk about some of that shit at some point. But this is a fucking fantastic record. A little bit later than I thought it was. I looked it up. It came out in 2000. But, you know, this band is again, Discharge rooted sort of hardcore punk, but unlike Discard, they're very, very heavy. There's very heavy production, layers of guitars, gruff, growly vocals. It's the same vocalist from Black Uniforms and Anti-Cymex or Anti-Chimex, whatever. Don't have the guy's name in front of me right now. But yeah, it's not all fast. When they go down to like kind of mid-tempo, like Ain't No Feeble Bastard by Discharge kind of tempo, it really kills. Like it's violent sounding, spiteful shit. It's really, really good. So I'd recommend Driller Killer for sure. This has gotten a lot of spins in the whip past couple of weeks. Talk about something a little different here. I've been spinning this, at least the first CD of this. I mean, this is a big old box set, but I've been spinning this like crazy for the past month or so. History of Terror box set by Hallows Eve. This compiles their first 3 records, Tales of Terror, Death and Insanity, and Monument. There's also demos, rehearsals, a live at CBGB set that's pretty fun to listen, rough sounding, but great stage banter, great energy. Some other live shit, and then disc 4 is a DVD, which I haven't cracked open yet. Who knows if I ever will. But Hallows Eve was a band. I've had Death and Insanity on cassette for a while. Spun it a bunch of times. They definitely degrade in quality over the records. The one to fucking get into is Tales of Terror for sure. But Death and Insanity and even Monument have their moments. Tales of Terror particularly is just... there's nothing that sounds exactly like it. It's very unique. They were in a bit of a, I guess, like sort of a cultural vacuum. They were from Atlanta. You know, whereas like there was all this speed and thrash metal coming out of New York. You know, you had Anthrax and Overkill over here, and you had Metallica and then Slayer down here, over there. You know, they're in the South, and one of the biggest cities in the South, kind of doing their own thing, and it shows that they had their own influences going on, particularly in Tales of Terror. That record is a fucking juggernaut. The reason being is that it has that strong traditional heavy metal vocal style in parts, and music in parts. There's, you know, a little bit more the new wave of British heavy metal gallop and that kind of thing going on. But there's also this almost punkish, like, again, DRI, First Nuclear Assault record, like just Hyrax, like super fast drumming style that just really, really brings it all together. The first song, Plunging to Megadeth, spelled correctly, is just a fucking rager. The first song off of Death and Insanity is a great song, but that's more of a gallopy, you know, new wave of British heavy metal bordering on speed metal kind of thing. So it's like this nice marriage of stuff that wasn't quite thrash, like Exciter and Metal Church, maybe, that kind of shit, with almost like fucking crossover, which is right up my fucking alley. That's everything I need in my life, you know. Fucking awesome stuff. And the guy's vocals are either kind of gruff, kind of shouted, sometimes they're mid-range, and sometimes he really hits the highs like a proper, like, you know, power metal or, you know, traditional metal, whatever fucking genre you want to say, kind of vocalist. The crown jewel of shit I've been worshiping lately that has been spinning in my car a lot in the past week and a half has been Furbowl, Those Shredded Dreams. This is a CD with a ton of extras. Came out years ago, not sure when. Vic Records, which was a Netherlands label. This is a Swedish band. The main singer and songwriter slash bassist was in Carnage from 1988 to 1990, it looks like. Full credit to Metal Archives. This was produced by Michael Emmett from Carnage, Arch Enemy, Carcass, you know the story. This also comes in an annoying double CD case, and these always break. I fucking hate that. So let's put that down so I can still listen to this. The music's fantastic. I feel like spiritually they're kind of the brother band of Afflicted, who are also from Sweden. Did I mention Furbowl was Sweden? They're from Sweden. Fucking great stuff. It's been mentioned that Furbowl were doing Death and Roll before Entombed did Wolverine Blues. I don't think that's really apt at all. There's so much more going on with Furbowl than what Entombed did on Wolverine Blues. I can see why people say that, because it's got that rock-based riffing, but that's like a quarter of the styles on this. There's a lot of different things going on this record. You know, there's doomy parts, there's tasteful minimalist synth work that kind of build, affect the barometry of the barometrics of the whole thing. I just don't want to say atmosphere. That's really my thing. But yeah, there's they influence the vibe, the feels of this all over that. There's punkish fast parts that, you know, single bass drum style, like 4/4 beat shit going on. Great choruses, great hooks. I think it's the Nothing Forever, or perhaps it's Razorblades. I'm trying to remember. Opens with like this creepy, simplistic bass lick and this like weird, talky vocals that are almost kind of goth. You know, they bring to mind like some weird fucking Sisters of Mercy shit.
In my mind, release the rage from deep inside.
Just been incredible. I mean, the first song, Damage Done, is 9.5 minutes long, and you just don't want it to end. Like, that's how fucking good it is. And I hate it when songs are over like 4 minutes. You know, it's got the, not quite the buzzsaw HM2 thing, but a pretty gritty, you know, fairly standard Entombed kind of guitar tone. Those weird Eastern scales that Amorphous uses, Afflicted uses. I feel like Solitude Aeternus even uses them a bit. They use a lot of that. I don't know how to describe that because I'm not a musician by any stretch of the imagination, but there's some fantastic riffing in it, and there's a fair amount of speed for people that want some punishing fast death metal. Just a fucking great, incredible record.
yes, the revenge is sweet. An emotional desert of dead meat.
Then moving over to a few releases on Bind Rune that I've been enjoying. One's a bit older, a few years old, and the other one's brand new. We got the Infera Bruo CD that came out in 2015 in Conjuration. I've spun this a bunch of times. As soon as the weather, speaking of barometrics, as soon as the weather dropped in temperature a little bit, I was like, yo, I feel like diving a little bit more into the huge amount of Bind Rune purchases I made a few months ago. This one I spun once or twice and shelved. You know, I had a lot of stuff to listen to, and I gave this, you know, a good 3, 4, 5 spins in the car and fucking love it. I enjoy black metal. Not the best at describing it. I'll try my hand. It's definitely got a good amount of technicality to it. A good amount of progressive elements. There's excellent guitar work, you know, tight guitar playing. The vocals aren't a straight up shriek. You know, there's a little bit of more emotion and humanity behind them, which I really appreciate. There's also some good clean vocalizations on it, some good clean singing that's fantastic. Yeah, this is just a great, you know, moody fucking black metal record like you'd expect from this excellent label. Then I got this Sons of Crom. I always thought it was Crom, the god that lived in the earth, right? That guy? I don't know. I'll go with the majority, Sons of Crom. Just got this, Black Tower. Spun it 2 or 3 times. It's great. I listened to it on streaming a shit ton before that. It's funny because, you know, if you want a proper review and proper, you know, an analyzation of this, I would analyzation isn't a word. Proper analysis of this, I'd send you to Ben Smasher's channel, Brain Smasher. Just to throw in my own 2 cents. It's funny, there's been mention of like, yeah, this is very similar to a lot of the more Viking-oriented Bathory stuff, which is where Bathory kind of lost the plot for me. I didn't check out Bathory for a year or 2 after hearing Twilight of the Gods, because it was just all Nordic chanting and crescendoing riffs, and I can totally appreciate that shit now, but it bored the fuck out of me the first time I heard it. And still, it's not exactly my bag, like that kind of yo-ho-hoing, you know, with the music. But Sons of Crom really take it and really make it work. And it's not just that all throughout. What's funny is, I remember that Bathory record, I can't remember if it's the first or second song, but there's a bass break where it's this hyper fast bass and you think it's gonna turn into some gnarly fast shit, and then it just goes back into, you know, Viking chants, and like, it's like clearly Korthon just fucking with people. R.I.P. But what Sons of Crom do is actually deliver with that kind of stuff. Not a ton, but there's definitely some scathing fucking black metal thrown in with all the epic stuff going on in this record. Production's beautiful. Great sounding record. Great choruses, catchy stuff going on. It's really a masterpiece. You know, do yourself a favor and fucking buy this. So that's it. I'm gonna enjoy some Crystal Skull and mixed nuts. Yeah, so I'll get back to the collection in a bit. I just want to talk about stuff I'm excited about listening to right now. Talking with my mouth full like a fucking animal. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thank you for subscribing. When I hit 500, I got a contest, but I don't want to jinx myself, because for the 300 thing, I was like, hey, there's a contest, and then it was like 3 weeks of nobody fucking subscribing. So when I hit 500, I got something going on, a little giveaway involving Mario shit from Costa Rica, but I'll wait till the counter hits that magic number. Talk to you guys soon. Peace out.